The other part is about the stimulus package, and I'm going to open it up to questions. So we spent a lot of time this weekend as it relates to just asking questions of the cabinet members and of the president about the Recovery and Reinvestment Act. There are dollars that are flowing into Colorado. People have thrown around this figure of $1.9 billion. Actually, the money is likely to be greater than that because that's just the formulaic money. That's the money that flows through these formulas they have for transportation, for education, for the energy parts to it, the clean energy parts to it. But we as a state could benefit from the money that they're going to invest in research laboratories. You heard the president mention it last night. He talked to us about it. We've got some of the best research laboratories in America. I would argue maybe the best renewable energy research laboratory in the world at NREL. And with those laboratories and the investment that's coming, our state will feel a positive impact from that because of the people that will come to work there, because of the increased budgets will largely be around added personnel who are scientists, who are PhDs, make a fair amount of money. And then we're doing things with CSU, CU, Colorado School of Mines, and NREL with that collaboratory that are going to help us as well with the kind of investment dollars that are there for research and development. There's also a pocket of money for education. It's called the Race to the Top money. So I had a conversation with the Secretary of Education about that because we think Colorado and all we've done in the last 2 years on true education reform is positioned pretty well to at least apply for that money. And I think ultimately we could receive a grant. There's $5 billion. And they're going to do 8 states or 10 states. They may do over 10 states, according to the Secretary of Education. But we're very hopeful that we have the ability to apply for that money because of the things that we've already done on redesigning our standards. Our Colorado Achievement Plan for Kids that we passed into law last year gives us the ability to say we're already looking at designing different content standards from preschool all the way through the first year of college. Likewise, the things that we've been doing around just the P20 recommendations on teacher effectiveness, teacher training, teacher retention, those are all part of their wheelhouse. And then turning around failing schools is the other part of it. So we're very encouraged by that. We, as Mitch said, we think it's important as a state to do what they're doing at the federal level, and that's to ensure that there's accountability, that there's transparency, and that the money is effective. What I mean by that, this money has a purpose in mind, right? The purpose of this money is to put people to work. And so if you think about the transportation money, it's $400-some million. 50% of it has to be encumbered in 120 days. The other 50% has to be encumbered at the end of the year. We want to ensure that that money is flowing into those transportation projects, that we're up and running with those, that they're part of what the federal government intended by giving us the stimulus money in the first place, which is job creation, but building out infrastructure to boot. So we have this board in place that's an oversight board. We in state government will still be very involved. We have a way in the Colorado Department of Transportation of assigning priorities to those projects and trying to build out those projects on a prioritized basis. There's a formula for money that will flow to local government. They're going to have to do the same thing. And we'll do that with the transportation money. Again, the education money, some flows to local school districts. Some comes in as stabilization money in our budget. The federal Medicaid assistance percentage, the change of that percentage, that helps us in such a significant way with respect to this growing Medicaid caseload. And for our purposes, what that creates is, for us, it creates less pressure on other parts of the budget. Because what we have to do is borrow from Peter to pay Paul in order to balance the budget. And if our Medicaid caseload is increasing, what we find ourselves doing is going into other parts of the budget and taking money out of other places that aren't constitutionally protected and then trying to balance it that way with this increasing Medicaid caseload. So to have that change in what's called the FMAP and to have it at the level that it is makes a real significant difference in our ability to maintain levels of funding in other parts of the budget. So that's really the stimulus. We're going to do, as I said, the oversight panel. And I just thank you all for the work that you do. I want to thank you as well for being state employees, for committing to public service. And every time I talk to state employees, I actually talk about that because you are public servants. You've made a decision, a professional decision in your lives and in your career to devote yourselves to other people who are Coloradans, right, to the citizens of the state. And I finish up by saying that I have an appreciation for the commitment that means and for the things that you do, not just for your fellow public servants as part of being Colorado Wins, but also the things that you do for the citizens of this state as public servants. So thank you, and I think I get to open it to questions now.
Governor Sally, you're from Division of Civil Rights. I want to thank you on behalf
Division of
Civil Rights. I want to thank you on behalf of all the employees for entering into a partnership agreement with us. And in pursuance of that, we have fielded bargaining teams from around the state because we believe that it's important that in these tough economic times, state employees have a voice at the table. What we've noticed is that some divisions are cooperative in terms of allowing employees to participate, and others are downright obstructive. So could we have your commitment that you will let state department heads know that it's your wish that state employees be allowed to participate on bargaining teams?
Well, so Marty Clay is my liaison to you, and I know most of you probably know Marty, and that would be the vehicle to communicate that. I've talked from the very beginning to my agency directors, to the executive directors about that we're open to this process, and that this process has a real reason and a narrative behind it that's about both state government but also about state employees. So I'll do that. I'll communicate that once again.
Thank you.
We went down to the